What is up, my friends? Welcome back into Flippin' Bats. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope everybody listened to John Smoltz on Saturday because he was awesome, as he always is. And it was a great weekend of baseball. We had Shohei homering, we had Aaron Judge homering over the past week or so. But today we're going to talk NL Rookie of the Year race. It is no longer a certainty that this award is wrapped up. We're going to talk NL Rookie of the Year, Jackson Merrill against Paul Skenes. Who should win that award? Also, the Dodgers holding on by a thread in the NL West. Are the Dodgers going to win the National League West? Also, first episode of the week, meaning Power Rankings. We have a brand new top 10, 10 through 1, some good movement there. A little baseball advice question at the end, but let's get to it. We got a good week of baseball ahead. Mookie Betts is back, my friends. Mookie Betts has been out for a long, long time, and the game of baseball is better when Mookie Betts is playing. And now he is. He's back on Monday, so the Dodgers might be off and running from here, but we'll talk about that in a little while. First up, let's talk about the NL Rookie of the Year race. Jackson Merrill against Paul Skenes. Everybody in the world thought Paul Skenes was a lock to win this award. And guess what? As of a week ago, he pretty much was a lock. If you look at the odds on FanDuel Sportsbook, wherever you look, last week, Paul Skenes was over minus 3,000 to win NL Rookie of the Year, top of the odds to win the Cy Young Award even, but over minus 3,000 to win NL Rookie of the Year. And at the time, Jackson Merrill was plus 1,500. Fast forward 1 week to where we all sit today, and Paul Skenes is minus 500, and Jackson Merrill is plus 250 to win NL Rookie of the Year. So what happened? Well, Paul Skenes probably had the worst start of his very young career to this point, but it's less about Paul Skenes and more about what Jackson Merrill is doing. So I'm going to talk about what he's doing, and then I'm going to tell you who I think should win this award. Jackson Merrill is coming off the NL Player of the Week award, not just Rookie of the Week, NL Player of the Week. And it's all been so clutch for him. Before the last couple of weeks in Major League Baseball history, no player had ever hit 4 game-tying homers in the 8th inning or later in a span of 50 days or less in the regular season. Again, no player in MLB history has ever hit 4 game-tying homers in the 8th inning or later in a span of 50 days or less. Jackson Merrill just did that. He's the first player to ever do it. And screw 50 days. Jackson Merrill did it in 12 days. This kid is 21 years old, and he's really coming into it. If you remember the beginning of his career, he hit a homer over in Korea to start his career. But then the power really waned a bit. The power really dropped. And over the last few months, the dude is on an absolute tear. The power has really come along. He has a 3.4 F WAR. And this is where we're going to start comparing it to Paul Skenes, who I'm not going to argue that he hasn't had an unbelievable rookie year and that he shouldn't win the award. But I am going to argue that Jackson Merrill has made this much more of a conversation than anybody thought. Jackson Merrill has a 3.4 F WAR compared to Paul Skenes' 2.6. And I know Paul Skenes hadn't played all year, comes up pretty late in a couple months into the year, and has done really, really well. So the fact that he's even at 2.6 WAR is wild. But you also can't forget the fact that Jackson Merrill is playing every single day. And when an award gets close, if an award like this, position player, pitcher, whatever it is, if it gets close, you are going to side with the player that's playing every day. And aside from offense, we can't overlook what Jackson Merrill has been doing defensively. Jackson Merrill playing center field for the first time in his life. He's been a shortstop until this year. Let's not forget about that. He's in the 87th percentile in outs above average in center field, 93rd percentile in arm strength, 79th percentile in sprint speed. So if we're talking WAR, his defense will continue to be good enough to keep his WAR going and where it needs to be. Even if his offense is going to slow a little bit, his defense has been phenomenal and a big reason why his WAR is where it is. Again, this kid was a shortstop his entire life until this year, where he's been playing center field at an elite level. How elite? Well, this year, in his age 21 season, Jackson Merrill is the best center fielder in the National League. Ronald Acuna Jr. goes down early in the year. He's out for the year. This season, Jackson Merrill, let's forget Rookie of the Year conversation for a second. Jackson Merrill, forget who's a rookie, who's a veteran. I don't care. Jackson Merrill has been the best center fielder in the National League, the second best center fielder in all of baseball, trailing only one guy at the position in WAR. That guy, Aaron Judge. Everybody else in center field, Jackson Merrill has more WAR than all of them. All of them. So there's an argument right now, in the here and now, for Jackson Merrill to be the Rookie of the Year. But I'm not going to make that argument because the season doesn't end until the end of September, 1st of October. So let's continue to talk about it. If Paul Skenes continues to make every single start and pitch as he has going forward, he should win the award. But that's a lot of variables. Another thing, the Pirates are seemingly falling out of a wild card spot. They were a couple games out. They were 3 games out. They're around 5 games out. How hard, if you're the Pirates, are you going to continue to push Paul Skenes down the stretch? We're seeing his velocity drop a bit in his start against the Dodgers. It was down to a 97.7, which is down from his season average of 99. Again, I get we're talking about crazy velocity, but this is the first we've seen his velocity average really dip to where it did. So are you going to push him? The reasons for yes, if you're the Pirates, is let's not forget, you call up a rookie and he wins Rookie of the Year, well, you get compensated for that. You call up a rookie and he finishes in the top 3 of the Cy Young voting, well, you get a pick, you get a comp pick at the end of the first round in the draft. So there are a lot of reasons for him, for the Pirates to keep pitching him. And I don't know their plans. I don't know if they're going to stop using him, but there are a lot of reasons for them to keep going. I do think he can finish in top 3 in the Cy Young voting. I do think he can win Rookie of the Year, obviously, but there's a lot that needs to happen. He needs to continue to pitch the exact same way he has every 5th or 6th day from here on out. Is that going to happen? I don't know. If it does happen, I think this award belongs to Paul Skenes. If that doesn't happen, there's a guy right there ready to take this award, and he's inching closer and closer and closer. So if I had to pick right now, come the end of the season, I think the NL Rookie of the Year should be Jackson Merrill. What he has meant to this Padres team that has lost Fernando Tatis Jr., what he has meant to the team as a whole when they were under 500, and then he turns it around and the entire team turns it around. You know what the Padres have? They have hope. They have hope because of Jackson Merrill. That's why. You lose your superstar, you add another superstar. Jackson Merrill is a superstar. He's already doing things that have never been done in the history of baseball. He's changed positions. He's playing an elite center field. He's playing elite offensively at the moment. The reason that the San Diego Padres are now in a position to be in the playoffs and right on the heels of the Los Angeles Dodgers are because of Jackson Merrill. And if he continues to play and stay healthy and do what he's doing for the rest of the season, playing every day for them, and the Padres get into the playoffs, I think Jackson Merrill is going to win the NL Rookie of the Year award. And I think a lot of people are going to be shocked by that. Paul Skenes had a massive lead. I think it's just the nature of what we have coming at us. I don't foresee the Pirates riding him every 5th day from here to the end of the year if they fall out of a spot. I do think he continues to pitch, but maybe once a week. I don't know, but I do think things are going to change a bit with Skenes. And even if he stays that dominant, pitching less and less, I think this award is going to go to Jackson Merrill. I think it should go to Jackson Merrill. He's been playing all year. He made the team out of spring training. He's been a huge part of this team, and he is the reason that the San Diego Padres are where they are right now. I think come the end of the regular season, the NL Rookie of the Year is going to be Jackson Merrill. Like I said, they've continued to creep in this NL West race. They are right on the heels of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So let's talk about, are the Dodgers going to win the NL West? You look around the league right now, and the Dodgers are 3.5 games up. 3.5 games up on the Padres and the Diamondbacks, who have both really crept back in. And it was about a couple months ago, this was a 10-game lead for the Dodgers in the division. Dodgers go out in the offseason, spend all that money, and it's okay. Can the Dodgers win the World Series? Well, I'm going to present you a different question. The Dodgers go out and spend all that money, and the question for me is, can the Dodgers win the NL West? You got the Padres pushing hard. You have the reigning NL champs pushing hard in the Arizona Diamondbacks. So what I'm going to say is that the Los Angeles Dodgers will win the NL West. Here's why. A lot of people out there are taking the pick of the San Diego Padres and how well they're playing now amidst all the injuries that they had to deal with. The Padres are pushing. The Padres are here. They're right on their heels. Well, let me tell you this. Let's backtrack a little bit. It's middle of August right now. On June 16th, Mookie Betts was hit in the wrist by a Royals reliever. The Dodgers haven't had their big three in the lineup since June 16th. From June 17th to August 12th, which was Monday, yesterday, when Mookie Betts finally came back. The big three, the best big three in baseball, arguably the best big three, one of the best big threes in baseball history, haven't been together. That's about 2 months. Freddie Freeman also missed about a week of time with his heart-wrenching family situation. If you haven't heard about that, it's just awful. Freddie Freeman and his entire family, his wife Chelsea, their son Max, had this a rare condition, had to get rushed to the hospital, and dealt with Guillain-Barré syndrome. Basically lost everything that he knew how to do. He's having to relearn how to walk. He is now seemingly on the mend a little bit, but it's going to be a lot. Freddie Freeman finally back in the lineup, but his family, him and his family and Max, have gone through something that no parents should have to go through. And luckily, Max is seemingly okay. But as Freddie said in his interview when he got back, he's having to relearn everything. He's having to relearn how to walk. So shout out to the entire Freeman family. And of course, Freddie had to miss some time there and deal with that. But he is now back in the lineup. Now Mookie Betts is back in the lineup. So June 16th. It's been since June 16th. The day Mookie Betts went down, the Dodgers were 8 games up over the Padres. Since then, it's not just Mookie Betts. It's not just a week of Freddie Freeman. You want to talk about injuries? I'll talk about injuries for the Dodgers that hardly anybody in the league can rival. Since June 16th, the day Mookie went down, they've been without pretty much every star they have at some point. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Tyler Glasnow for a little while. Yamamoto's been out for a long time. Clayton Kershaw, Walker Buehler, Bobby Miller. You go into this season talking about a rotation of Tyler Glasnow, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Walker Buehler, Bobby Miller, and hopefully you get Kershaw back. There's your 5. Well, guess what? Over these last couple months, every single one of them has missed a little time due to injury, some more than others. Yamamoto hasn't pitched in that time. Kershaw didn't pitch for the majority of that time, just came back. Bobby Miller dealing with injuries and then trying to come back and down in the minor leagues. And they have had, the Los Angeles Dodgers have been dealing with more injuries than anybody in the league, you could argue. They're 25-20 still since Mookie went out. Fine. Good. Not great. The Diamondbacks and the Padres have been great. Padres 29-15 in that stretch. D-backs 31-16 in that stretch. Both of those teams are now 3.5 games behind the Dodgers. But the Dodgers are getting healthy. Mookie is back. The big three, as of this week, is back together for the first time in 2 months. Yamamoto getting closer and closer. Walker Buehler getting closer. Glasnow, fine, back in the rotation. They're getting healthier, and the Dodgers should be good enough to win this division. I still think the Dodgers can win. I think the Padres and the D-backs can both get into the playoffs, especially with how good they're playing right now. I really, really like this Padres team. I love what they're doing. I love how they're playing. It's electric down there in San Diego. I love it, and I love watching them play baseball, and I do think they're every bit of a playoff team. But I still think the Dodgers, especially now, they're getting healthier, will be good enough to win the National League West. Where are they going to be in the power rankings, though? It's new week. Let's talk power rankings. We're going to go 10 through 1. Will the D-backs, Padres, and Dodgers all be in it? Well, let's figure it out. Let's start at number 10 in the power rankings this week. They were not ranked last week. They are back in the rankings this week. The Houston Astros. Massive, massive sweep of the Red Sox. I mean, dominant. Absolutely throttled them in that series at Fenway Park. Huge series for them. Astros obviously right on the cusp of first place in the AL West. But in the wild card, just in case the Mariners win that division, if you're the Astros, you got to figure things out because your record's not good enough to get in. The Red Sox were right on the cusp of a playoff spot in the wild card race. Astros playing them. They were behind them. Well, you end up sweeping them. Huge series win. Astros are playing great baseball. Since May 8th, the Astros are the best team in the game of baseball. The #1 record in that time. That's a long time. May 8th, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, over 3 months. Thank you for bearing with me during that math. Astros here at number 10. At number 9, I'm going Arizona Diamondbacks. 8-2 in their last 10. Crept way back in this division race, only 3.5 behind the Dodgers. They're sitting in a wild card spot. They've been really good. It's been a matter of them for as well. Health, underperformance, they've been dealing with it all. Getting a little healthier with Eduardo Rodriguez coming back. They're definitely getting healthier all around, and they've been playing really good. So I have the Diamondbacks at 9, and I'm going Padres at 8. I'm still a little bit higher on the Padres than I am the D-backs just because of their roster as a whole. If you could ask every other team, all 29 teams, would you take the Diamondbacks bullpen right now over yours? And I don't think there's a single team that says no. The Padres bullpen has been elite. It is the best bullpen in baseball, and it just is a different team than it ever has been than I remember. Even since they started spending money, this team just feels different. The Padres are really good. They're holding down a top wild card spot right now. They're on the heels of the Los Angeles Dodgers. I really like this team, and as my shirt here says, well, one, you're hopefully getting Tatis back. He's on it, but hope. The Padres have all the hope in the world right now. At number 7, the Twins. I bumped them down 1 spot. Just an okay week playing. I think the Twins are a good baseball team. I think the Twins are going to win the AL Central. But I did bump them down from 6 to 7 because I bumped up to number 6. One of the hottest teams in baseball, the Milwaukee Brewers, hitting .318 in the month of August. No other team's even hitting .290. You got the Brew Crew hitting .318, almost about 30 points higher than any other team is hitting in this month. They scored 41 runs in a 4-game stretch last week. 3 against the Braves, 1 against the Reds, 41 runs in that stretch. The Milwaukee Brewers have quietly been one of the best teams in baseball. Now they get a huge series against the Los Angeles Dodgers, which I'm pumped to see. But nobody's talking about the Brew Crew. I'm going to do it. This team is offensively better than anybody right now. They're pitching lights out. The stadium is rocking. Shout out Milwaukee Brewers fans for showing up for this team. The place was absolutely rocking over the weekend. I love to see it. I love to see the Brewers playing well. Rhys Hoskins hitting well for this team. Huge late clutch homers for the Brew Crew to win them some games. So I had to bump up the Brewers. They are close for me. Man, if they beat the Dodgers in this series, they're going to be a top 5 team for me. Playing great. But let's go to number 5, that team they are playing, the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers get swept early in the week from the Philadelphia Phillies, but they are now getting healthier. You can't tell me the Dodgers aren't a top 5 team in the game of baseball. They are, and they're finally getting healthier. Mookie back in the lineup, Freddie back in the lineup. You now have Shohei, Freddie, and Mookie all back together. Pitching starting to get healthier. So though they got swept earlier in the week, I do have the Dodgers here as my number 5 team. At number 4, I'm going Cleveland Guardians. Guardians have been one of the most fun teams to watch this year. Everything they've been doing with Jose Ramirez, obviously, who's the most underrated player in baseball. And I know you can say, is he really the most underrated player? I think everybody knows he's great. No, he is the most underrated player, even though everyone knows he's great. I just don't think people know how great this guy has been. What a superstar. Josh Naylor has been really good for them. Stephen Kwan at the top of the lineup. Bullpen has been arguably the best in baseball. Emmanuel Clase is the most dominant closer in the game. Guardians are just a lot of fun. And I loved the addition of Lane Thomas at the deadline. So Guardians here at number 4. At number 3, down another spot, I'm going Philadelphia Phillies. And people keep saying, I know the Phillies are a big talking point in these power rankings. People keep saying, okay, Phillies, why are they still here? Why are they so high? Bump them way down. That's not how these work. It's not how power rankings work. This team has proven all year long that they're one of the best teams in baseball. They're on a skid, which is why now for a couple of weeks they've been falling one spot at a time. But let's not forget, they swept the Dodgers at the beginning of the week. Dodgers are one of the best teams in baseball. They swept them. They dominated that series. Then they end up losing another series. They're 4-6 in their last 10. So I bumped them down again, but you can't tell me they're not a top 5 team. They're unbelievable. They're just going through a little bit of a skid. Every team does it at some point throughout the year. The Phillies are going through it right now. I'm not going to overreact, as I try not to do with any team. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, Yankees fans were calling for the New York Yankees to be out of the top 10. They don't deserve it. Last week, I bumped them back up into the top 5 somewhere. And then they're saying, no way should they be this low. They're much higher. Let's not overreact with power rankings. It's a long season, 162 games. I'm not going to overreact one way or another. That's why the Phillies are just going down 1 week at a time. One spot right now. They went down 1 to number 3, up 1 to number 2. Those New York Yankees entering the new week, same record as the Baltimore Orioles, tied atop the AL East. They're just a totally new and different team with Jazz Chisholm in that lineup. I called that. I loved the trade. I thought they needed it. The Yankees are boring, is what I said. Jazz Chisholm is not boring. He's been a huge addition to that lineup. A fantastic for every possible reason. Defense, versatility on defense, offense, swag, everything you could possibly want. Jazz Chisholm Jr. brings to the team. The Yankees have been really good since then, and they are now right back in it in the AL East. They really, even when they weren't playing well, they really never fell out of it. But they are back in it, tied at the top of the division. But at number 1, I still do have that team they are tied with in the Baltimore Orioles. I love this team. I know they're just 5-5 in their last 10. But to me, I'm going to keep them here because this is pretty simple. For me, with my power rankings, they come out every single Monday on MLB on Fox, every single week. Somebody needs to do something to take the number 1 spot. The Phillies had been there for a while, and then they really started playing poorly. So I felt, you know what? They're out of it. Nobody in my mind right now is good enough to have that number 1 spot, or at least knock the Orioles out of that number 1 spot. The Yankees have been playing better, but they're 6-4 in their last 10. The Orioles are 5-5 in their last 10. Are the Orioles playing their best baseball right now? Absolutely not. But of these teams behind them, the only team in this top 10 right now, well, that has been in the top 10 that's playing their best baseball all year is the Milwaukee Brewers. Padres are playing really well. D-backs are playing really well. Astros playing really well. But of the team that's been in it pretty much all year long, the Brewers, they're playing their best baseball. That's why they bumped up. Dodgers not playing their best. Guardians not playing their best. Phillies are playing probably their worst baseball of the year. Yankees not playing their best, but playing pretty well. Orioles not their best either. So we're not going to have a ton of movement at the top. I'm keeping the Orioles at the top. They're at the top of the AL East. They're battling it out with the New York Yankees. I love the team, top to bottom in that lineup. Rotation can be good enough, especially with the additions they made. Zach Eflin, really good in his last start. Bullpen additions, I think, are going to be huge come playoff time. Give me the Orioles at the number 1 spot. So 10 through 1, we go Astros, D-backs, Padres, Twins, Brewers, top 5, Dodgers, Guardians, Phillies, Yankees, Orioles. Just outside this week, Kansas City Royals. I had to put the Astros in at 10 because the Royals have a better record. Again, if you want to see standings, you can Google it. You can go to MLB.com. You can go to the MLB app. You can go wherever you want. If we're just doing standings, everyone can see that. If we're doing power rankings, that's a bit of a different conversation. Give me the Astros over the Royals right now in a tight one. Royals do have a really good record. They're probably at 11, but that's why I went Astros over Royals, just because of their play right now. But That's a good top 10. We are middle of August, my friends. Middle of August, getting closer and closer to playoff time. This is the most wonderful time of baseball season. The last month and a half, the playoff pushes that happen. There's 3 wild card teams now on each spot, 6 on each league, 6 wild card spots. Huge. I loved this edition from Major League Baseball. Everybody is seemingly in it. Huge wild card races down the stretch. This is a lot of fun. I started this a couple weeks ago. Haven't done it every single week, but I do want to start doing it more and more. Segment called Baseball Advice. I don't claim to be a 10-year major leaguer. I don't even claim to be a major leaguer, but I do claim to have a pretty good baseball career, I'd say. I did it all from Little League all the way through professional baseball, was one phone call away. So I did. I want to, obviously, this show is very fun and positive, and we talk about the positive side of baseball and all the good things happening. And if you've been listening for more than a week or so, you know, this is a fun, exciting, positive baseball show. And I always want to do something to continue that. And one thing I wanted to start was a segment called Baseball Advice, where we can talk hitting, we can talk pitching, defense, we can talk recruiting, we can talk scouting, we can talk whatever, playing at the next level. I've done a lot in my baseball career. I went through the draft process. I played 5 years professionally. I made 2 All-Star games professionally. I was one phone call away, the phone call I had dreamed about since I was a kid, from getting. But I've experienced a lot in my baseball career, and I always want to ask a question. If anybody has any, shoot them to me. This week, it's about play on the field. Comes from Prime Beef 45. Prime Beef 45. Hand fractures, he says. Hand fractures. Why don't more hitters wear padded or armored gloves? Shohei does, I believe. This one, I never could wear padded gloves. I put them on in batting practice just to mess around with them. Couldn't do it. So the reason a lot of players don't do it, I would say the majority don't do it, is just feels weird. There's a lot you could do to protect yourself more on a field, right? You could wear a face mask on your helmet. Giancarlo Stanton had to do that for a little while after he got hit in the face. You could wear a face mask. You can, there's always this thumb guard. I did used to wear a thumb guard. You see a lot of guys wear. It's that white thing that goes in between your thumb and the bat. It's to de-amplify. I don't know if that's the word, but de-amplify the vibration of the bat. If your bat gets blown up, that helps you there. There's a lot you could do, but it's the feel for this. It doesn't feel good. For a lot of guys. So it's just a lot more padding, and a lot of guys just like to have their normal batting gloves or no batting gloves or whatever it is they do. So that is why you don't see more hitters wearing it. They like what they like. A lot of baseball players are superstitious. A lot of them are hard-headed for whatever reason. They know it might help them, but they just don't want to do it. But thank you for that question. Again, I'll put this out every week on social media. If we get good ones, obviously we'll always talk about them, but anything you want, from playing travel ball. From the first one we did was talking about what sports should you play, multiple sports growing up, or just stick to one to really focus on that. I went through the recruiting process, playing college baseball, the draft process, whatever you want. If you ever want baseball advice, I'm always open to talking about it here with this incredible community. I love you guys. I love the entire Flippin' Bats community. We have something really special going on here. And I'm really appreciative for every single one of you that listens or watches every single week. Make sure you subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever. Make sure you listen there. Also on all social media. You can watch everything on our YouTube channel, Flippin' Bats Pod there. We're on all social media, put some really fun clips out there. So make sure you're watching, subscribing, following, leaving reviews. That all really helps. But I really appreciate you all. If you haven't, go back and listen to Saturday with Smoltz. The next episode will also be Saturday with Smoltz. Going to talk to him about a lot of things happen around the league, but it's always really fun having the Hall of Famer on. So appreciate you all for listening. Again, make sure you're subscribed, following wherever. And until next time, my friends, remember, find your bat and flip it. Peace.